Hey everyone, it's Brett from Hope to Prosper, and I'm here at Saguaro National Park on the east side. I went to the west side yesterday, and I'm just enjoying this so much. Thanks for coming along on this adventure. Hope you enjoy the footage of Saguaro National Park and also today's subject, and I appreciate you as viewers. All right. Okay, so should you get an RV for retirement? I got an email from one of my viewers, Alex, and he said I should get an RV for my retirement. And ironically, Alex has the exact van model I have been looking at, a Thor Scoper Rise. And he bought it for his retirement, and he loves it. And he's recommending that I get one too. I've kind of gone back and forth about getting an RV because they're a big investment. You know, they're a well-known money pit, put it that way. But on the other hand, I'm retired. I travel a lot. And it would be really nice to be able to hit the road and go where I want, when I want, and not be on a schedule of hotel reservations. On my trip last week, and you're watching some of the footage now in Saguaro National Park, I had to find a bunch of hotels close to the national parks. And that's not always easy. So some of those national parks like Big Bend and Guadalupe Mountains, man, they're out in the sticks, and there's not much around them. And it's hard to find a good hotel that isn't, an hour or two away. An RV would have come in really handy, especially in Big Bend. I had to stay on Terlingua Ranch, and I didn't realize it's like an hour outside of the national park, and it was on a dirt road. So, anyways, also, when I was in Texas visiting my little sister, I would have liked to have stayed another day or two with her. But my reservations were all made and lined up, and it would have been a big hassle to change them. So I only got to spend 2 days with her and had to move on. So let's talk about the first thing. Money isn't everything. I was chatting back and forth with Failure over at Failure at Retirement probably about a month ago, and he was telling me about his RV. And he said, it wasn't a great financial move, but the time he spent with his kids in the RV was priceless. So there's certain things you can't just put a cost on. And he said money isn't the only consideration. And in some respects, I think he's right. From a purely financial standpoint, buying a really expensive RV and using it a couple times a year, it's not a great idea. I get stay in a lot of cheap hotels for the price of even a used RV. But then I'd be hoteling instead of camping, and I like to camp. So I don't mind staying in a hotel. In fact, I kind of like it. It's really nice to show up, take a nice shower in the morning, get your free waffle, and burn out. You don't have to rig it all up, pull it all down, all that stuff. Hook it up. You just get there, you check in, and then you leave. But also it'd be nice to have our own little space out in nature, without a big parking lot and a bunch of beeping horns and things of that sort. A bunch of guests next door making noise, coming in and out. I could use a lot more stars and campfires and a lot less traffic and road noise. So why van life? For the longest time, I wanted a 24-foot Class C with a rear corner bed. That would have been perfect for our desert trips with our family of 4. But the reason I never bought the RV, reason number 1, is the gas alone would have doubled the cost of our trips. It costs a fortune in California, where we have $5 gas and $6 diesel. It makes a big difference. So I never bought a Class C because we were going out twice a month during the season, and the gas alone would have doubled the cost of our trips. And then the other thing, and this is a big thing, is that right now, where I live in California, it costs about $400 a month just to store an RV. So that's a non-starter for me, just dropping $5,000 a year just to store it. No, I'm not going to do that. And also, now that the kids have moved out, it's kind of just me and my wife now. And so we've been thinking about a Class B van instead of a Class C RV. And we could just park it in our own driveway for free. And not only could we just park it, we could take it to the store, we could take it to the beach, we could take it to the park, just park it in a regular spot. take our dogs along. So Class B vans are super popular around here in California, and there's probably 4 of them up and down our street alone. So, but I'm not interested in becoming a digital nomad. I'm not interested in van life. I like to go camping, and then I like to come home to my house at the beach. But I love watching some of the van life YouTubers. And my wife caught me watching Ryan Toomey, and this is like a year ago, and she said, "You're not getting a van. This is ridiculous." Da 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 da. And then I caught her watching all these shows, and all of a sudden she's gotten into watching the van lifers, and she's the one wanting a van. So I suspect we're going to be getting a van. Let's talk about the RV pros, right? First of all, there's lots of free land to camp on. In the Southwest, where I live, or in the West in general, there's a lot of what is called BLM, Bureau of Land Management land, BLM land. There's open, free land you can camp on. And you can camp usually up to 14 days. Some of the places are easier to get on than others, but you don't have to go to campgrounds in the West. One really neat thing about California, there's a ton of free land to camp on and neat camps that are free. And then the other thing is your RV, it's kind of already half packed when you want to use it. So the one I'm looking at has a wardrobe and some drawers and stuff, and you just leave some jackets and some clothes in it, and you just show up, put your food in it, and you can roll. As opposed to, every time I go on a trip to hotels, I have to pack up all my bags and all that stuff. And you can change locations without packing and unpacking. I find myself living out of a suitcase in the hotels because I don't want to unpack and pack everything. I just kind of fish out a couple shirts and some fresh socks and underwear, and I roll on. But with an RV, like I said, you have your stuff sitting in your little closet. Another thing that would be nice is no check-in or check-out times. One of the things that's really a hassle is you get somewhere, you want to hang out, but you can't check into your hotel till 3 o'clock. That really sucks. Or if you want to sleep in or do something in the morning, you have to be packed up and gone by 11. So unless you're staying at a campground, you don't have the check-in or check-out times with an RV. So I think it's a big pro. Another thing, you could travel with a fridge, stove, and bathroom. You're rolling along with it all. One of the things on this trip that you're seeing here, in Texas, they had a lot of picnic areas, which are like a rest stop with no bathroom. And so I got out, keep in mind this is West Texas, right? So I get out with my burrito and my drink, and I pull over at a picnic area so I don't have to spill salsa on myself while I'm driving. And I sit down. Next thing you know, my napkins all blow away, my drink blows over. And so that's West Texas. And I had to go to the bathroom, but there wasn't a bathroom there. So in a van, if it's windy, you could just eat inside. You could use your own bathroom. You could get something out of your fridge. You could cook something on your stove. So I think that's a big pro. And like I was talking about earlier, you kind of have your own space. We camp out by ourselves. We camp out in the desert. Every time we rent a travel trailer, they try and talk us into going to the campground, but we're not about that. We like having our own space. And you can bring your pets. We love to bring our pets. We're responsible pet owners. We have great pets. They don't have to be on a leash, and so that's kind of nice. And you can get near remote locations, like I was talking about with the state parks or national parks. And when we went hunting, we got to camp right on the area where we hunted. That was really nice. So let's talk about RV cons. Number one, they're really expensive to buy. The van I'm looking at new is about $85,000 to $100,000, and they go up to $150,000, $200,000 if you get the real popular ones like the Winnebago Travados or whatever. They're expensive to operate. Like I said, in California, we have $5 gas and $6 diesel. They have lots of maintenance. Things break in them all the time. And they're tougher to drive. I drove through a sandstorm in New Mexico, the rain and the windstorms in Texas. It was kind of nice being in a little car, driving along and not getting blown around. And another con is some of the campgrounds are expensive. Like in California, if you don't camp on BLM land or something, if you try and camp at the beach or something, it's going to cost as much as a hotel. And same with some of the KOAs. And then on top of that, there are limitations without the hookups. You know, one thing about vans, they have small tanks. They have a small water tank and small gray water tanks. And the toilet's just a cassette toilet. It only holds 5 gallons. So I want to talk about my RV experience, by the way. So, by the way, I've never actually owned an RV, so I'm not the utmost authority on the subject. But I've rented them a lot. In fact, I rent them every year. And so I do know a little bit about them. We rent travel trailers in the desert, and it's a great value. I rent them for $400. I tow them onto the campsite about 2 miles. I use them all weekend, then I tow them back, and I give them back. And I don't even have to dump them. So I do have some experience. I know how to level them, tow them, all that stuff. So let's wrap this up. The bottom line is that I'm very likely going to get a Class B van within the next couple of years. I'll probably buy one used for about half of what the cost of a new one is. And so I'm waiting for some of my popular models. They're super popular. So I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of used ones to choose from in a couple of years. And I think our 60s is going to be, my wife's in her 50s. It's going to be the perfect time for van life. And I think that's going to get less attractive as we age. And then it'll be more like resorts and cruises and stuff. All right. Well, thanks for coming along, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the footage of Saguaro National Park. Man, I had a great time on this trip. I drove hard. I covered 3,300 miles in only 8 days. And I got to see 5 national parks. Plus, my little sister took me to see the Alamo and Riverwalk in San Antonio. So it was a big week. It was a lot packed in. So I wish you all health, happiness, and prosperity in your lives. And I will see you next week on my next big adventure in White Sands National Park.